Hey guys, welcome to the Process Podcast. Today we have some very intelligent educators, Miss Watkins and Miss Maurie Snyder. Also, we have Mr. Jeffrey Wilkins, our co-host. So let me tell you a little bit about Miss Maurie Snyder. She's a central processing instructor at Philadelphia Technician Training Institute in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia Technician Training Institute (PTTI) is a post-secondary school that seeks to create a challenging, technology-based learning environment that is instructor-led and hands-on. PTTI encourages high expectations for success through development, appropriate technical instruction that allows for individual differences and learning styles to acquire technology skills and secure long-term employment in diverse industries. Okay, guys, so we also have Miss Leza Watkins here. She is from Sterile Processing Universal. Sterile Processing Universal is a professional development and consulting firm that specializes in the development of professionals in the central service industry. After 5 years of helping their clients reach their goals in the industry, they decided to expand their reach beyond the tri-state area. Now they share their passion for the industry by coaching their clients on an individual basis. The coaching process is designed to empower their clients from the beginning straight through the certification. Ms. Leza Watkins is the founding member and CEO of Sterile Processing Universal. She has earned her associate degree in liberal arts from Strayer University, her CRCST certification from ISSA, and Mrs. Watkins also holds a certification as a professional healthcare instructor from the American Medical Certification Association. Thank you guys and welcome to the show. Nice to have you guys on.
Yes.
So Jeff, I will let you start with interrogating our guests. We definitely want you guys. we'll keep it a little light. So we definitely want you guys to talk about your programs and what you do to help persons that have no idea what sterile processing is come into the field and be the best they could be. So Jeff.
Thank you. Listen, welcome both of you guys. It's going to be an honor to actually talk to you guys and see what your processes is about. Maurie, we're going to start with you first. Just tell us a little bit about your experience and why you chose to become a sterile processing educator, and are you happy with your decision?
Well, number one, I am very happy. What brought me to sterile processing was I had a very tragic event that basically just took everything from me. And so I had to make a decision whether or not I was going to be a survivor, a victim, or a warrior. And I decided that I was going to fight. I was going to fight for my life.
Awesome.
I chose sterile processing because it was actually a suggestion from a contact at PA CareerLink. And the first school I looked at was in, I think, Monroe County. And I kept thinking, you know what, there's got to be someplace closer. And then I found Sterile Processing U. And I flourished. I actually found a profession where doing things the right way is a good thing. Asking questions is a good thing. Helping others is a good thing. Caring is a good thing. And so I flourished. And I had been told that I would not be able to find a school, and I was blessed enough to get a scholarship to the school. I was also told I would not be able to find a paid externship, and I did. And from my experience, I've grown as a person. My caring and compassion has allowed my students to also flourish in spite of and because of the diverse backgrounds that they come from. So I really enjoy what I do because I can see my students' development. It's watching that timid woman who did not have a voice have the ability to speak up and speak with confidence and professionalism. The young man who's not sure but wants to come in tough and loud, and then after I sit him down and have a good talk, he decides, you know what, I kind of like this. This is something I can see me doing. The experience has been life changing for myself, and I want to pass that on to others. It can be a life changing experience.
That's truly awesome. I really like that. That's great. Um, Let me just ask you one more question. Now you see the challenge. We know we have challenges when it comes to store processing. All
Yes,
educators do because of the fact that we know in your situation, like some others, some of us all, we have
yes,
people that come from challenging backgrounds. We
yes.
want them to aspire to do the best they can be. You know what I mean? So with that, and you're being in this role where you're actually leading these people to a better career. How has that made you feel? How has that been able to elevate your teaching process?
Well, it's been humbling, um, because this experience has not only allowed me to actually have access to their lives, it's made me look at myself as a person and grow up even more. I'll put it that way. Become a better me, and I'm able to express that to my students, encourage my students, because it's so easy for them to fail. It's easier to fail. It's hard for them to manage their time. It's hard for them to set priorities. It's hard for them to understand that that light at the end of the tunnel is not a train, but it's their life calling them, waiting for them. And so as they change, I change. I'm challenged. I have assistant teachers in my classroom. They're my students that come in and act like they know it all, and in their minds they do. But over time, I earn their respect. They earn their classmates' respect. They're taught to respect each other, and I see that development. So, as like I said, as I change and grow, they change and grow, and they're molded into that person that you want them working by your side. You want that tech that we've developed to be working at your side. The main question for us is, do you want that person working with you? Do you? And I present that to my class because that's a question that will be posed.
Yeah, that's totally awesome. I think sometimes our students gravitate to us when we're instructing them to see that, there is a career path for them. There is, like you say, light at the end of the tunnel. If we get as instructors make it seem like we don't accomplish so much that they can't accomplish it, sometimes that can throw them in a tailspin backwards. So it's
Mhm.
good that you can relate to them in that manner and continue to keep them engaged to where they want to aspire to do more, become, young teachers, become,
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, etc. That's really great. Thank you.
So, so, so Miss Watkins, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. We have two strong ladies here on the panel. I just want to know, since you've gone a little further with your school, and I just want to know what are the pros and cons of you coming into to an industry like this and then taking it to a whole other level. What have you taken away from your process in the past years?
Well, from coming into the industry many, many moons ago, old lady, when I came in to be a technician to kind of get my foot in the door at the hospital, not necessarily wanting to stay in this industry in the beginning. But once I got in the industry, I started to love what I did, and I loved being the technician and being a part of the healthcare system and helping patients. And so I always loved being a sterile processing tech. Unfortunately, I did get injured. I did take a fall in decontamination, which was not fun.
Oh
And
man.
that fall caused me some injuries that made it impossible for me to continue the actual career. But what I can say is that actually, funny enough, because me and Mr. Wilkins used to work together in hospitals, he offered me a position to start teaching at Sterile Concepts Technology. So I actually started my new career as being an educator because of Jeffrey Wilkins. But then I decided to take it to another level and move on to do my own thing. And I love being able to bring what I've learned as a technician for many years into the classroom. I love being able to see that transition from an individual, as Ms. Maurie mentioned earlier, from someone who is coming from a totally different career, not really knowing and understanding what this new career is going to be about, and going from that and kind of being nervous to actually flourishing and changing their life. And so that transition is priceless. And so for me, that's the reason why I do what I do. I really do take my clients very personally. And that's also a reason why we move to a one-on-one model, because it makes it even more personable for our clients.
I have to say, looking at from where we first met up until this point, I'm extremely proud of what you've done and accomplished. The
Thank you.
greatest thing that I see is that you've been able to obtain people that, despite if they had a hardship, of being able to have that relationship with them. And that goes a long way. So I will continue to tell you to keep that up. So I know from just, from whether you're talking now that you have a great success rate. So why don't you just elaborate on that for a little bit for us?
Well, what I would say is my success rate is out of 100% of people that do what I ask them to do, they all make it, and that's the truth. um, there are some people that don't actually follow the plan. It's not really a hard plan to follow, but there are people who fall off just because maybe it's too hard. Sometimes people have a misconception that because the program isn't maybe a 4-year college or something, that the actual curriculum may be easier or not as serious. And so for individuals who may take it not seriously enough, they can't hack it in our program. However, for those who do exactly what I asked them to do and they actually take it seriously, because it's not really about our program as much as it's about changing their life and going for the goals that they said they wanted, 100% of those people make it, and it's really just that simple.
Yeah, that's great because you think about it, and even when we will look at our programs and we talk about our students, we see how when we have people that really are dedicated to the process that we lay out for them, understanding what the plan is, understanding what the vision is, they're extremely successful. They go out to do great things. And I always explain, especially my students when they come in, I'm like, sometimes the main people that unfortunately fail the program are the ones who think they know it before they got the chance to look at it.
Yes.
The college students that say, "Hey, I've done this before," and we don't want them to fail, but you have to understand it's a process. It's a grooming process, and we can't say that we didn't do it because we all walked through that process ourselves. So we know what works, what don't work. So I think that's really good that you do it that way. All right, let me see what I want to ask, Maury. All right, Maury, are there any challenges you have encountered as an educator, and if so, what are they, and what would you do differently?
Um, One of our main challenges is the students themselves. As I've mentioned, they come from unique and diverse backgrounds. And so the way that my personality is wired, I try to find a connection with each individual student. I try to understand what motivates them. I have life lessons. Like I will stop my class and say, okay, I don't like the energy in the room. We need to talk. And I find that sometimes people are so caught up in their lives or caught up in their pain that they can't see beyond all of that for the opportunity that's right there in front of them. So, one of the benefits of our program is that we do have a wraparound. We do have student services, okay? Because we want the student to be successful. We need for them to understand that, again, this is life changing, but there are some things that you have to change about your life, okay, in order to get to this goal. So we have them set goals. I tell my students, you need to find your bliss. You need to find what really feeds your spirit because these next few months are going to be difficult. Um, Trying to make them understand that as givers, and I am a giver, that you have to learn to be selfish. You have to learn to keep something for yourself. You have to learn how to say no and set boundaries. So that's the biggest challenge. Changing that mindset for people who are feeling hopeless, or they feel as though they're not good enough, they don't have anything to offer. Changing all of that into, hey, you know what? I'm worth this. I can do this. And as Miss Watkins has mentioned, if they do what I tell them to do, the way that I tell them to do it, those are the students that come through the program. And the way that I look at it, they are coachable.
Okay.
You want an employee who's going to be coachable. You want an employee who's going to listen to your instructions. You want an employee who's going to pay attention. So these are the qualities, a few of the qualities that I tend to cultivate. And I let my class know when they're not moving towards that level of professionalism. In the classroom, I don't settle for less. And I actually have told them, I'm being nice today, but I can turn into supervisor, Miss Maurie, so you can get a taste of the real world. Okay. Like the cell phones. Can't have cell phones out. It's a constant thing for us. But I let them know, well, you can have them out in the classroom, but you go to that job and you have it out. Can't guarantee that you're going to have a job. So that kind of lists the most basic and foremost challenges that we have.
Okay. Now, when you mentioned the wraparound, what can you describe what the wraparound is, or elaborate on that?
Yes. So PTTI is basically, I'd like to say, a community school. Okay. So we give out, or we provide food. Okay. We are able to guide our students towards city services if they're homeless, if they're having mental challenges. Because at the end of the day, we want the student to remain in the program. And if they are not able to remain in the program because they're having these outside challenges, they need help. They need that wraparound. They may need someone to just talk to or vent to. They can't come to school because they're not able to find childcare. Okay, so we have staff in place to help with many of these issues, but only as far as we can. At the end of the day, the student themselves must still accept responsibility and accountability for their situation. We are there to help as long as the student allows us to help, but we're not there to take over. We're just there to assist.
No, that's good. I haven't heard a lot
I
of
agree with
programs
that
that talk
also.
about a wraparound. That's really good. I'm sorry, Denard. Go ahead.
No, I agree with that also. That's very important. So, guys, we're going to take a little break and then we're going to get into success stories. What's your best success story for a student coming back and saying, hey, you changed my life, or this is the impact you made on my life? Do you have any examples um, of that? So, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back, guys.
I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really needed
a professional career coach.
And I kept searching.
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Yes. Thank you.
If you are looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
thank you.
So, guys, we're back. So I just want to get here a little success stories, couple examples of success stories. Has a student come back to you and says, "Hey, you changed my life so much. There's no one could have helped me until you helped me." Has there ever been that in your career as an entrepreneur, as an educator?
Well,
So Leza.
yeah, I can answer that. So I've had quite a few of my clients do that, but I guess for purposes of what we're doing today, it makes sense to highlight Miss Maurie Snyder because she is one of my former clients who has been a success and has come back to say thank you for helping me move on and transition into who I am. And so that is a blessing. It's not something that I take lightly. I've had other clients that have told me that I'm their mentor, people that are older than I am. And I find that as being something amazing because I don't see myself that way. But I have had quite a few people come back and say, this program or under, the direction that you gave me, I changed my life and I got exactly what I wanted. And that's what it's all about. It's really not about me. It's always going to be about my client. So as long as my clients are getting what they came to get out of the program, because again, like Maurie said, they got to put the work in. But when they're willing to put that work in, even though there's challenges, those are the people that they're going to make it no matter what. And so I tell my clients on day one, because we do a segment on, everybody may not be here at the ends of this program. And it's always going to be a challenge because when you try to better yourself, we all know that the craziness comes out of the woodworks and something crazy in life is going to happen to try to derail you. So it always goes back to how strong are you? How strong is your why? Why are you here? And so for the ones who actually make it through, yeah, they come back and they're like, you know what, you were right. It was challenging. I've had all kinds of, like every single client has something crazy happen. And I mean, absolutely crazy. Nothing, no little stuff. I've had people's nephews get murdered and they're here. I've had all kinds of clients' issues and they still make it and they say, thank you. So I love what I do. I love what I do. And so every day that I teach a client, especially now because I'm so one-on-one and hands-on with my clients, I get to know them and I get to know their lives and their families and their family. We always say when you leave us, you're not just a client that left, you're part of the SPU family. So we don't take it lightly. And yes, Ms. Snyder can speak more on her life-changing experience at Sterile Processing U. So I'll leave it to her, but definitely I have plenty of, we have a 5-star rating on all of our platforms.
Quick question before you switch to Maurie.
Yes.
What did you see in her from the beginning and that transition to who she is now? What did you see, those qualities? What did you see?
In Maurie, I saw a strong person, a very strong-willed person, maybe just having some challenges, and at the time didn't really live up to that potential, but I knew that it was in her. And I knew she just needed somebody to still be there to kind of give her a little bit of a nudge, but also not so much that it would just push her to the edge, just enough to say, look, you can do this, but totally understand things are challenging right now. If you need time, it's okay. Because everybody needs time sometimes just to get things together, but you never quit. It's always about not quitting. And I saw that she was a person that was not a quitter. And so when you see that in somebody, you got to be there to support them. And that was my job at that moment, was not to be an educator, but to be a supporter and a cheerleader for my client. And that's what I had to do.
Awesome. You can't stop smiling, Maurie. I see it.
Oh man, wiping the tears away.
So proud of you.
Thank you.
It's always great to receive and great to hear. You okay?
You okay, Maurie?
Awesome.
Yes.
So what is your experience? What do you have in terms of, not what do you have, what has been your experience about somebody coming back and saying, hey, thank you, Maurie, because what you said was on point. You really helped me out tremendously.
Well, in my first class, I had one student who had, she had a set of twins that were very young, and she would walk to school no matter what the weather was. She would drop her twins off and she would come to school And she was there every day on time, quiet, did what I asked her to do, pleasant. Um, whatever drama was going on, it was always, Miss Maurie, you know what? I may be late because I'm doing such and such, or such and such happened, um, but I'm going to be here. And that young lady showed up. The only time she didn't was when she had to do something for her children. Um, she learned time management. She's a professional. Um, she graduated from the program. She took the certification exam and passed the first time. She went to her externship and got hired at her externship. So she's one of a
That's
few
awesome.
stories. But as I've mentioned, most of our population is unique. They have some heart-wrenching stories. We give away an award that's called the Steel Toe. I think it's the Steel Toe or Steel Boot, Steel Toe Boot Award to students from each department who have overcome a great odds. Like you didn't even see them coming as far as graduating. So what I can tell you is that it feels good to know that these students can change their outcomes. And especially that one student, she was in my first class. She was one of the first two to pass the certification exam from the program at the school. So, yeah.
Very.
Good deal. Good.
And I believe that's the second one of the layers to being an educator. It's not just the academics. You have to sometimes get personal and
Yes.
learn your students, learn what's causing them not to learn or what's getting them to learn faster. So I definitely applaud you guys for making an impact in those students' lives.
All right, Leza, let's talk to you a little bit more. I know you talked to me again in your experience of how you actually came into sterile processing. Do you still have relationships with ISSA, and how's the relationships helping you or impacting how you do your education and instruction with your students?
Yes, so I do maintain a relationship with Isham because of my clients. Of course, I'm always calling about something. Part of our program does a lot for, we pay for the certification for them. So that keeps me in constant communication with Isham all the time. All of my other partners, such as hospitals that we have contracts with for externship and vendors for instrumentation, things like that. So I'm always looking for new opportunities to partner up outside of healthcare, specifically things that can help with my clients. We do have other services that we do partner with as well. So one thing that Ms. Snyder mentioned earlier about her program having a wraparound service, we don't necessarily have a wraparound program because we're not as big as maybe a PTTI. However, we do have partners that we do partner with and we can refer people to, such as ehire.com, who helps with not securing jobs, but helps with the job search. We do also have other partnerships with the American Medical Certification Association, MEDCA, the Medical Certifying Association as well. So we do have partnerships that allow our students and clients to kind of enhance their education as well as their professional skills moving forward.
Awesome. So in terms of maintaining that relationship with your students that you call family, your clients that you call family afterwards, what are some of the programs you have set up for them?
So, so my clients always call me anytime, all the time. They have my number and they'll just randomly call me, which is fine. But also, we maintain a relationship with them if they ever need any resources down the line. So if someone is working now and maybe they're not working down the line, they reach out to me. And it's not so much of a formal program where, oh, well, we can definitely connect you with ehire.com, but they come to me directly. and they'll say to me, "Hey, Ms. Leza, I'm looking for a new position. Can you help me? Can you refer me? Can you write me a reference letter?" I have people that leave me 3 years ago and still contact me to this day for references and for support, and it's not a problem. Or on the reverse side, I'll have hospitals call me and ask me, "Do you have any clients that you can send us right now that are ready, because we need people?" And so I then turn around and I reach back out to my clients who have already been certified and say, "Look, I've got some options for you. Are you interested?" And so it just depends on the scenario, but it's more so of an informal version of just like family. When family needs something, they just call you. And that's kind of how it goes with us. They need something, they call. So that's how it works in the SPU family anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you find similar situations in regards to some students reaching out to you as well, Maurie, when they have some questions or concerns? And if so, how does that look?
Yes. I'll get a call about certification, the provisional certification, the exam. Of course, many students are afraid to take it. What I find sometimes is that they will prolong or procrastinate to the point where they're terrified and then they don't want to take it. So towards the end of the course, I just start telling them, okay, you need to take this final in order to prepare for the seat, the board, or to sit for the state exam. Don't wait. Okay, you need to do that. I set it up so that they call me before the test, and then I tell them you only have to get a 70. Because I'm drilling the whole course. You got to get an 85 to push them. To push them. But I get the phone calls that I don't understand what's going on with my child care. I'm going to drop out. Miss Maurie, help me. I need someone to talk to. So from my standpoint, most of my calls have to do with what's going on with their lives personally, as opposed to professionally. But those who do pass the certification exam and they go on to their externships, they will call me back and say things like, "Well, Miss Maurie, I don't think this externship is a good fit," and we'll talk about it. Okay. I've had students come back and say to me, "Well, you know what, Miss Maurie, this is going on at my facility," and we teach them humility. We teach them that, okay, we know that you have the educational background, but you still need that experience. And so be humble when you go in there. Don't go in there thinking that you're going to change the world, because then they're going to eat you alive, and we don't want that. So more or less, our students call us back for advice. The students who have managed to get to the externships and who have managed to pass the state exam, they're calling back for advice on situations that they've been warned about, they've been spoken with about, but they just don't have the experience to handle.
Yeah. Maurie, you touched on some obstacles you do have, although you spoke about some ways you get around those. But we'll take a quick little break and then we'll come back and we'll talk about those challenging times or those obstacles that inhibit you from, or inhibit students from finishing the program and inhibit you from, giving them that education that they need. So when we come back, we'll definitely go into obstacles of being an educator. All right, guys, we will be right back.
I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really need
a professional career coach.
And I kept searching.
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Yes. Thank you.
If you were looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
thank you.
All right, problem solved.
Problem solved.
So guys, make
Love
sure you
that.
go check out SterileProcessingU.com and PTTI.com. Their programs are different, but I assure you it is well worth it. Check them out and decide based on these young ladies' presentations today. I am very excited to know them, and I'm definitely going to check out those schools. If anyone asks me, hey, what school or what program should I take, I'll definitely mention these two to them. And Miss Leza,
Yes.
not to get on the negative side of things, which I sometimes am known for, but what are the obstacles of being an educator? What creates the dropouts, and what's the barrier between sometimes you getting the information to that student and getting them to be successful?
Okay.
Oops.
There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
So some of the barriers that I've seen and experienced with some of my clients would be, number one thing, as Ms. Snyder mentioned earlier, it's always going to be the individual client and their circumstance. A lot of times, unfortunately, life happens, right? And so when some overwhelming things happen in their life, maybe before that, they're like, I'm on point, I know what I'm doing, everything is clicking. But as soon as there's a monkey wrench, a big one that's thrown into the mix, it becomes a big challenge for them to, kind of navigate that and still stay focused on what they're actually doing. So for me, the challenge would be making sure that they remain focused and making sure that, depending on what that monkey wrench is, that again, if you need the time, focus on that monkey wrench and then come back to the table so that you're able to receive the information that's needed, because ultimately, no matter what else is happening, your job here is to get what you wanted out of this so that you can change your life. And so I'm always an advocate for making sure that you still have that as your main focus. But sometimes we have to take, instead of that straight line A to B, we got to go diagonal and go around about a little bit to get back to that B point that you wanted. And so for me, the challenge is just knowing how to toe the line between coach and friends, because at some point I have to be a friend to my clients. And I have to understand, especially as a lot of my clients are female. So as a woman, there's things that we have our challenges. I understand. I've been there. I've done that. But I also know at the end of the day, I need to be able to feed my children and take care of my family. And this is a way for you to do that. And so for me, the challenge is just making sure that they understand that regardless of what's happening right now, your future is at stake. And is your future, or not having what you said you wanted for your future, is that going to be derailed by this monkey wrench? And if I can get them to see that, yes, this is a hard thing happening right now, but you got a whole rest of your life to kind of live throughout. So how do you want to live the rest of your life? And if I can get them to see that, then they actually wind up saying, okay, yeah, you're right. And they come back to the table. So it's just basically getting them to see that with their future is at stake. So I'm here to help you, but I can't do it for you. Other than that, everything else is pretty much is doable, because everything else just comes down to, are you comprehending the information, making sure that they're able to understand what's going on. And for me, having that one-on-one personal time with them, it makes it a lot simpler versus having a classroom full of people on different levels and different comprehension levels. It makes it, as an educator, of course, they get the message, but sometimes you have to cater more towards one individual than another. But in my scenario now, that person gets all my attention.
So true.
So for me, that kind of cuts some of the barriers that I would have had previously, because I did used to teach classrooms full of people. But now that I don't do that, it makes it easier and simpler for the client. It makes it easier for the client because they get all the attention that they need, and I know that they understand, or I can spot where they're not really comprehending and understanding a lot faster because it's just me and that person.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So you seem to be doing very well in terms of the one-on-ones, but what's your challenge with the class? How difficult it is? How more difficult is it in a classroom setting?
For me?
Yeah, for you.
Well, like I said, the challenge in the classroom, honestly, the only challenge would be having a room full of diverse individuals with diverse opinions, diverse learning styles, and trying to make sure that you're giving all the different modalities in a way that they can all get and understand at the same time, because we're all on the same schedule, right? And so that would be the biggest challenge for me at the time. But like I said, at the moment, right now, um, the decision to go one-on-one in part was maybe because of that. You know, in one way, the challenge with that is because it takes more time out of my schedule. But at the end of the day, that individual, I have a higher success rate with individuals because it's one-on-one. There really isn't no excuse. You can't hide in the back of the classroom. You can't put your head down and let the person in the front answer all the questions,
Right.
you know, because I'm asking you the question. So what's the answer? You know, and so for me, I kind of removed some of those original barriers by having those people, because sometimes the other part of it is sometimes people are shy. You know, they might know the answer, but they're intimidated by somebody else in the classroom, and so they don't speak up or they don't get the full benefit of the class because they don't have that, they're not as vocal as some of the other clients in the room, and that could discourage some people, and I've seen that happen before as well. So I know, because I know that individual, I know you know the answer. Why didn't you say it? Oh, well, I'll let somebody else talk or whatever. And that kind of keeps them in a shell. And as we know, working in the industry, can't be in this little shell. You gotta be strong with a tough skin, right?
Yeah.
So
Definitely,
I
definitely.
feel like being one-on-one, it allows me to bring that out of an individual and allow them to have the floor and to speak and to feel confident when by the time they get in front of a manager, by the time they get into their externship, they have built some confidence up because they're the only ones that can speak. So they can't run and hide.
Sure, sure. Hold on 1 second.
There we
Yeah.
go. There we
I
go.
So
like
my
Looking for the
first book.
bomb. There we
Yeah,
go.
That's right. I like that.
she touched some really good points. I like her enthusiasm, and I just want to say give a shout out to the single fathers and the single mothers who pursue a sterile processing career and have to complete the 400-hour internships. And I know that's very challenging, especially it's free. You have to spend that time, take it away from a job and your children, and try and keep a household together at the same time. So kudos to those single parents who persevere and go through the course and complete the hours and become sterile processing professionals. So just wanted to take some time out to say that. So Maurie, what are some of the obstacles you find in a class setting? Because I know you have a mostly totally a class setting, right? So what are some of the obstacles as Leza said, the people at the back sleeping and the people in the front answering all the questions?
Yes. Well, lack of planning, not setting priorities, and then not being believers. And what I mean by that is when I start off my class, I have a talk with them. And I let them know that if you have plans on hiding in the back, you can't hide because I'm going to pull you or drag you out of the corner. I usually have one or two people in my class who are know-it-alls. There is not a better way for me to express that. Who want to speak with me. They want to teach the class with me. And it's like the first week or so, I just literally have to establish dominance in my class. I'm glad that I learned to be that way. I actually learned to be that way from the job that I had. I had to learn to speak up, to be heard. I had to learn how to be firm. I had to learn how to be professional, even in my anger. And so that's carried over into not only my instruction, but I give examples about how behavior should be done professionally. So basically, it's taking that piece of charcoal, I guess you could say, and shining it up and changing it into a diamond and letting people understand that it's okay to make mistakes. I didn't realize how many people don't want to make mistakes. And as Leza said, they do know the answer, but they don't want to make a mistake. They don't want to. They don't want to get out there. And so my job is to teach those people that you have a voice. I teach my students to have a voice, how to use it properly. My challenge comes from the person, and this is a man or a woman, who chooses to get their hair done and their feet and their nails done, but you don't have time to study. And they get called out on it. They get called out on it. I don't want to hear about your weekend. I want to hear about when you study. I don't want to hear about how you only got a 10 on a quiz and you had time to study. So even though we have students that learn in different ways, from auditory to doing, to call and response, I learned from Leza about games to keep students engaged. Even with all of that I do, I still have students who fall through the cracks because of the effort. It's easy for me to fail. And they've become accustomed to failing for so long that I really put time and effort into making sure that they understand you have a choice. You're choosing to fail. You're not hungry enough. You got to be hungry to be great. What is your bliss? What is it that you want? What do you need to be motivated to be that person that I can see that's in there? So it's the motivation. It's the time management. It's the setting of priorities. When I was in Leza's program, I didn't watch TV the whole time. I didn't have time. And at the time, I didn't have a job, but I had other challenges. Leza introduced me to Quizlet, and Quizlet works. So I would be up at 2 o'clock in the morning by myself. I had a block of time that I had to do my homework. So I'm familiar with the setting of the priorities, the time management, but most of all, being selfish. And being selfish sounds like it's such an easy thing to be. But as givers and people pleasers, I'll put it that way, we give until we don't have anything left over to give. So I teach my students that you have to learn how to say no, set boundaries. Those are my challenges: setting boundaries and making students understand that it's not enough that I think that they're important. They have to think that they are important also.
Hold on 1 second. So I had to as my buddy in my head, Les Brown says, you gotta be hungry, so
Yeah.
so if you
Yeah.
even if you're comfortable, you still have to have the mentality that I still need more. So
Yes.
if you come in thinking I'm comfortable, I don't really need this, you're probably not gonna get it. So definitely I appreciate your answer. Definitely hit the point. So we go into Jeff, do you have any
Well,
questions you want to
I want,
ask
yeah, I
before we
want
go
to make
into
a
our next
couple
break?
comments too, because I'll touch on some really important points in terms of what needs to motivate you as a person who wants to change their lives and develop a career. And sometimes, when you get new and young folk, they don't understand, there's a commitment to developing a career. And we're dealing with people that may not ever manage their time before because they did whatever they wanted to do. So the
Right.
theme I'm hearing about time management is so important. And I teach this in my curriculum as well. You have to manage your time. You have to find those blocks of time that's going to allow you to study. But you also have to find out what the things are going to distract you from getting that maximized study. So I think it's fantastic you guys are doing this because it's bringing about some of the tools necessary for people to be successful. And that's the great thing about being an educator, because Lisa know me, I didn't want to be an educator. I kind of fell into the profession, because of things happening in my life and everything else. But the beauty of it is that knowing that you've been able to not just mold somebody's life, but encourage them to be better. And then seeing them take that, what you said, being better, and maximize it. That's
Yes.
always fantastic. So
Mhm.
kudos to you guys for doing it in the way that you do it and bring about the maximized results. So what I had a question for you guys, and then y'all elaborated so well on it, my question just went out of my head. So what I would like to do is just ask you guys with With everything that you've seen, do you have any regrets about teaching and educating? With everything that you encountered, do you have any regrets? Like, you know what, I regret this because, I put my time in and not getting the results. Do you, or is it just the opposite? You just love it so much that it doesn't make a difference about, the pitfalls because you're always going to stand up. Can you elaborate on that for me? Leza, I'll start with you first.
Okay. So short answer is no. I don't have any regrets. I feel like everything happens for a reason.
Mhm.
Again, I fell into educating. I wasn't planning on doing that, which Mr. Wilkins definitely knows as well. He kind of drugged me into it. But I do not regret that at all because it opens up my world in sterile processing. Instead of being in the walls of the department and just doing that part, it allows me to expand my knowledge, expand my education, expand myself through my clients. So I would never regret that. Every challenge that I've had, and I've had days where I ain't want to get out of bed because I'm like, it's too hard, because from this perspective, from my perspective, it's not just the actual education of the clients. I'm running the business. And so sometimes that has its own challenges, and you still got to put a smile on your face because there's a client that you have to see and be in front of, right? And so there are some days where I just like, they can't know how I'm feeling because if they did, they would go home and run. They run from what's going on. So um, there are days where I get down, but I'm never in a position where I'm going to say that I regret what I'm doing or where I'm at, because at the end of the day, what keeps me motivated, what keeps me getting up out the bed every day to say no, somebody's out there, one of my clients, all of my clients, they need me. Because if they don't have me or the program, then what are they going to do? And so being a part of somebody's transition is an amazing thing, and it's a humbling thing. And so for that, I will forever be grateful. I'm always grateful for my clients, and always looking for more. Like, I'm an abundance of clients can come and just take over my life. It's okay. But I'm always humbled by the stories. I'm humbled by what I see and what they become. And I truly find it more of a blessing than anything else. And so I thank you, Mr. Wilkins, for bringing me into this part of the industry, because I probably would have never done it. And I do thank my clients such as Miss Snyder, because without having those stories or hearing the feedback from my clients, then yeah, maybe I would feel some kind of way. But when I see the transition, it's undeniable. I could never regret that ever.
Awesome. You're quite welcome. It was my blessing. Trust me. So, Miss Snyder, Miss Maurie, how are you?
I'm good.
All right. So I pose that same question to you. Were there any regrets? How do you feel about it? Or is your passion today as it still was the day that you started? Was it everything you expected? Talk to me a little bit about it.
Well, I'm young to this profession.
Okay.
And once I got involved with the course, I knew that I wanted to be an instructor. And so everything that I did from that point on was for me to become an instructor. I have no regrets. I still find something new to keep me interested in what I'm doing and also to motivate my students. What drives me is the fact that I have trained externs, okay? And I recently, within recent history, within the last 5 years, I was in their position. And I always asked myself, what is it that I would have done differently coming into that externship? What is it that I want to teach the students so that they are in a better position when they enter into the externship? So I think from my point of view, not so much the lack of experience, but the more recent experience of being in a facility allows me to pass on that experience to my students, because I know that the pitfalls that they're going to run into from a more recent standpoint as opposed to 10 years ago. Okay. So I like what I do. I know that my students are counting on me. I know that at the end of the day, that I have influenced someone in some way even the students that don't make it through the program for whatever reason, I know that they've been changed just by stepping into my classroom because see, I believe I believe that anything is possible. And maybe that is the child that's still in me, but I believe anything is possible. I believe that if you want it, you can have it. I believe that there's this great big world out there that so many people have not been able to experience because they don't have the finances. They're literally eating to live, living to eat, okay? Always just that cycle of just existing. And I know that there's so much more out there. And that's what I use my classroom for. So it's not just about the theory part, okay? We also watch videos. I took a project that Leza gave us and I expanded upon it so that our students again know that there's more than just the city of Philadelphia. Okay. We have pathogenic microorganisms all over the world that right now are coming out because of global warming. And no, I'm not making a political statement, I'm just making a statement. Um, so, what I've encouraged them to do is read more about how microorganisms impact how we live and then understand the importance of what we do. And I'm proud to be a CS tech. I start out with, we're called glorified dishwashers, but I'm here to change all of that through you. There is not a surgery that happens without us. And no, we're not on TV. We're not glorified that way. But guess what? No surgery happens without us.
Awesome.
Definitely, definitely. You know what? Oh.
Totally awesome. Yeah, she deserves it.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Thank
I
you,
did want
Maurie.
to make
Thank
one
you.
comment though for you guys. And you were saying that it may be the child in you. That's not the child in you. That's the humanity in you. It's a difference. It's the humanity in you. Because without us being human and understanding humanity, we accomplish nothing. Because to be empathetic, you have to be human. Those who aren't human aren't empathetic. I don't want your sympathy. I want your empathy. And it makes a difference. Because if you can walk in my shoes, you understand my trials, my tribulations, but you understand what it takes to help me. So that's really cool that you guys are doing it in the way that you're doing it at the level that you're doing it. It's a beautiful thing that people need to understand what sterile processing technicians bring to the table.
Yes.
And I'm still a sterile processing technician at heart, and I like that. I like the fact that I still understand the instrumentation as well as understanding the dynamics of the administrators. So I think that's a beautiful thing, and let these guys know they can accomplish everything and anything they put their mind to. So that's
Yes.
beautiful. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for having the opportunity to talk to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And guys, I just want to give a shameless plug. Guys, from now on, you could call into the show and leave a message, and we will listen to your message and answer whatever question, comment, concern you have. The number is 559 Talk SPD on your touch phone, your touch screen. So it's 559 TALK SPD. So you could call in, leave a message, and we'll definitely try to air your message, or we'll read it back to we'll repeat it back to the audience or the guests. So definitely that's in our upcoming shows. So please, guys, just call in anytime. I saw William Logan called in earlier. I want to shout out all the guys in the comments. Leslie, Mr. Carter, also Brooke. We had Curlin Audowin. I don't know if I'll say that right. We also had some other Facebook folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. We had Reagan Watkins was on also, and I think that's about it on our chat. We'll go into a commercial break, and guys, I want you to come up with some strong sales pitches. Nah, I'm just kidding. Just talk about your program, and then we'll definitely try and show individuals trying to come into a class or individuals trying to retake a class from going to a school that didn't teach them what they were supposed to know, and just talk about the benefits of your courses and how people could contact you and how people could get your services. So we'll be right back, and there we go.
I've had this problem.
Big problem.
I really need
A professional career coach.
And I kept searching.
and searching.
There are so many choices.
It's really hard to find one that has all the things on my list.
But I finally did it.
Thank you.
If you are looking for one as well,
Look no further.
Here's a really good one.
Just use mine.
Use mine.
I'm very satisfied.
Definitely recommend.
Problem gone.
thank you.
All right, guys. So I'll leave the floor to you guys. I'll even put you on the big screen. So who's going first?
Miss Maurie can go.
Maurie, you ready?
Yeah.
You ready for the spotlight? All right, it's all you.
Okay, hi. My name is Maurie Snyder. I am an instructor at PTTI in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We offer a program that's approximately 8 months long. You would be in the classroom 5 days a week, and we also offer what's called hands-on experience. The way that our program works, you will have theory, you will have experience with the instruments, along with discussions on professionalism and professional development. We also have what's called a wraparound, where we have student services that can assist you with most life challenges that you're having. And we also have a very diverse and unique population. So if you're looking for a second chance, if you're looking for a different career path, if you're looking for something different, please consider our program at PTTI, because we are there to help you get or have access to a better life. It's not a hand out, it is a hand up, and we're willing to help you any way that we can.
All right, thank you. Oh yeah, one more shout out to Lila Price. That was great. Lila was on there also. So Miss Leza, you're next. Here we go.
Okay. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Ms. Watkins from Sterile Processing Universal. And what we do is a little bit different. So we do one-on-one coaching for our clients. It is done online, so we are national. We do it online through video. We do still provide instrumentation for you to practice. We actually ship them to you directly, so you have them in your home, and we practice live together. And our mission is to get people from where they are to where they want to be. And so we basically coach you from the beginning of the process of becoming a new technician all the way through to certification. We do provide externships in affiliated hospitals, and we're there to be your cheerleader, to help you out and to be your support. In addition to that, for people who may have taken another program that, and we get calls like this where they're still interested in finding out more because they don't feel as though they've gotten everything they needed. We do have a refresher course as well, which will cover certain domains of sterile processing, depending on the needs of that particular client. And also for individuals who need externships and their program isn't offering that. We do get calls about that as well. We do have an externship program that's available for potential clients too. So we do a little bit of everything, and we are Pretty much we're based out of Jenkintown, Pennsylvania, but we are actually a national program. So in any state, we can provide services. So if you know anybody or you're interested in changing your career and getting into the healthcare field and doing something a little bit different, our program, it runs for 11 months, but that includes your externship or 400-hour externs as well. So it's 6 months with us, and then it's 5 months with your actual hospital. So our phone number is 267, let me get it right, 267-627-4817. And then our website is www.sterileprocessing and the letter U.com. So we look forward to hearing from you.
Oh, hold on 1 second. You guys did a great job.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
excited. I'm excited. Jeff, any last comments? Any parting words?
My only parting words is that continue to do what you guys do. We need to have diverse, hardworking individuals that lift up the field and the profession of sterile processing. And that's a hard thing to do because others have been carrying the torch, and unfortunately they've been fading out. They've been dropped. They even got waterlogged. But we need engaged, hardworking individuals that will not drop the torch. We need that because nobody lifts up sterile processing except for us. So we have to do it in a way that we don't just get their attention, but we back it up with everything that we do when we teach, because it makes a difference in lives. It gets people that normally would not stand up for themselves to stand up, and it elevates us to where we need to be. We need to be on the front line, acknowledge their front lines, and give them the recognition of front lines. So keep it up. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity and the honor to talk to both of you.
Thank you.
And guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. So you guys have an open invitation anytime you guys want to come on and leave some comments, and we'll talk about anything but education. We'll get your comments on sterilization, decontamination, all that stuff. We'll do even fluoridation and one trays in there too. So anything you guys want to talk about, come on the show. Just send me a buzz me or send me a text or email, and then I'll definitely have you guys on. All right.
Thank you so much
So
for the invitation.
you are welcome, and then we'll be heading out. So guys, see you in the next one. Peace.
All righty. Take care.